Hello everyone and welcome back in Steel Division 2. This is Eagle and today we are going to discuss about the 7th Mechanized Corps. So we have been reviewing all these divisions from the Soviet side in the game and we have made a good progress. Today we are going to talk about the 7th Mechanized Corps, or as Eugene says here, this corps basically is a mix of green recruits and Stalingrad veterans, and it mostly fought on the southern front. It helped to attack Romanian front basically, and encirclement of the German 6th Army. And Eugene also mentioned here that this division is noted for the Su-76I assault gun, which is repurposed from the captured Stug 3, which basically was captured during the German offensive on Stalingrad and was repurposed and renamed as Su-76I. Other than this, the corps also have this British Matilda, which is a Lend-Lease tank, and it features different infantry and armor units, which makes this division a little bit unique because of what it has. Speaking from historical perspective, this division indeed, according to the sources which I found during my research, this division indeed had the Su-76I, and it was part of the offensive on Romania. However, there are some inaccuracies in the implementation of this division. For example, Eugene here says that this Su-76I is based on the captured Stug 3, while it's actually based also on the Panzer 3, and it's actually mostly Panzer 3, captured Panzer 3s. What happened basically is that during Stalingrad, lots of German equipment fell on the hands of the Soviets, and most of these tanks were Panzer 3s and Stugs, which were taken later to the Soviet factories and repurposed and named as Su-76I. There is also some inaccuracies in the implementation of the Su-76 itself. So we will see this later while creating the division, that actually the command tank and the non-command one is basically the same. It's just different color that Eugene implemented, while there is a difference in the look between the command unit and the non-command unit. I will explain this later while we are creating the division. But there are also some other things which are missing from this division as well. For example, this division is missing T-70 light tanks, which actually is also missed from most of the divisions which we have reviewed so far, or all of them, and I don't know the reason behind this. But anyway, the division is also missing an important factor which could have changed the performance of this division in the game. This division was supposed to have a regiment of anti-tank planes, but these are not present in this division. The division also is missing some tanks like the Su-100 or the T-26 or PT-7. All of these tanks were supposed to be available in this division, but for some reason Eugene missed to add them. Um, Also, some information to add about this division is that it was actually reformed 3 times. It is one of the most or one of the oldest divisions in the Soviet army. It was first formed in 1934 and later had 2 other reformations during the war itself. So that's basically all what I have about this division. Let's jump in and see how I created this division, or how did I build the units. This division is a bit unique because it has slightly different component or slightly different equipments than what you can find on the other divisions that we have reviewed so far, which makes this division a little bit unique. So let's first jump in the recon tab. Nothing special in the recon tab, the usual Razvedka units, and also there is this T-3476 Razvedka. There is also this carrier Dushka, which some people prefer to use. On my case, I did not use it. I prefer to use the T-34 because it's pretty cheap, and I also added the Razvedka recon units, which I usually take in the Soviet divisions. When we go to the infantry tab, the good thing about this division that it has more slots than the normal standard slots that we can find in the other Soviet divisions. So I took 1 card of commanders, and I also took in phase A this Streliki semi-automatic rifles. So the difference between this one and the other Streliki unit, that this one has actually semi-automatic rifles, while this one has bolt action rifles. I do prefer the semi-automatic rifles, but also this unit has anti-tank rifles, so that's why I mix between both of them in phase A. And I took 1 card of the Tanko Desaniki, which has Molotov cocktails in phase A as well. I took another card of Automatiki units, which are very good in CQC fight. So I think I have said this before, that in close combat the Russian units seems to be a bit better than the German ones, while in longer ranges the German units actually outperform the Soviet ones. Anyway, the wise choice is also to mix between longer range units and close range units. So in this case, as I said, I had 2 units which act or perform well in mid and long range, plus 1 card of a unit that can fight in close combat. In phase B, I have 3 cards actually of units that can fight very well in close combat and mid range as well, because these Sabiris are not bad when it comes to fighting in medium range and close range as well. And I added 1 more card of Streliki in phase C, just to increase the number of units and to have enough troops. This unit as well comes with the M2A1, which can do great support in phase A because of the 12.7mm machine gun that it has mounted on the top. Other than this, nothing is really to talk about in the infantry section. So moving to the tank sections, which, as I said, it misses lots of tanks which are supposed to be in this division. The tanks in this division are pretty weak, so you cannot really count on them. But you also have a pretty good number of tanks, cheap tanks basically. So I added one card of the SU-76I. So one major difference here, which shows some historical inaccuracy in this division, is the SU-76I and the SU-76I Kombroti, which is the commander version of this tank. So basically Eugene only differentiate between them by a different skin, which is not the correct case actually, because the Kombroti one, or the leader one from this tank, had a mounted hatch over here, as we can see on the picture on the right side. But anyway, this should not have a major effect or any effect whatsoever in playing the game. I just wanted to point this out. Mostly Eugene does this by actually differentiate between some units using different skins, even the ones which are supposed to be commanders or veteran units or hero units as they call them. Which is something that I don't really like, because at least you should give some kind of veterancy or better stats, slightly better stats. But anyway, that's how it is. So let's move on. The support tab here is pretty rich actually. You have lots of choices to take. So I took one card of the flamethrower team and one card of support gun, which I usually take, and then I had to choose between the Doshka, the Maxim, and the SG-43. And I took the Doshka because it's 12.7 millimeter and it has 1250 meter range, while it has also better damage. It is a bit more expensive, but I think it's more effective, while the other two are 7.62 and they have less range, so that's why I took the Doshka. Also I took the SU-152, which is a great tank for support, to support the infantry and remove emplacements such as AT guns, and of course one commander, one supply unit, and I added this SU-122, and the reason I added this actually not because it has 122 millimeter of HE shields, but it's because it has the heat shield. Moving to the anti-tank tab, unfortunately we don't have here units that has bazooka other than the Recon Razvedka unit, but we have this unit which is a BTRS, and the BTRS has one of the best ranges in the game, 400 meter, so it's a must to take. So I took one card from this. I also took one card from the SU-76, which is a good tank destroyer against at least medium tanks. And I took one card of the ZES-3 BT 76mm, a good anti-tank and a good anti-personal weapon as well. So it can be used for support or it can be used against tanks. Then I took 8 tanks, one card in phase B from the SU-85, and one card from this giant. It is basically a beast. It has 122 millimeter AB shields, and it can have a penetration of 200 millimeters, so it can penetrate most of the heavy tanks. So I also did not take much of it because it's pretty expensive. It cost 165 point. So 3 of them in a 1 versus 1 game should be more than enough just to suppress any heavy armor attack from the enemy. And of course you can support it with the Su-85 tank destroyers. Going to the anti-air tab, I used this ZenArt 72K 25mm, which is pretty good anti-air weapon. The only problem with it that it has very less number of shells, so it gets empty very fast, something that I noticed during the gameplay. So you always need to keep a supply truck near for these weapons. And of course I took the ZenArt 37mm, which is one of the best anti-air weapons in the game. Moving to the artillery tab, I used of course the mobile mortar, which I usually use, and the Su-76 for long range artillery, and also the KV-1E 203mm, which can be used as a tank or as an off-map artillery, so it has dual purpose, so that's why I picked it. Other than this, there is nothing really special about this tab. Moving to the air tab, which also I don't like in this division. It could have had more options actually, especially if it had an anti-tank brigade or an anti-tank regiment or some anti-tank lanes at least. But anyway, this is what we got, so I added this E3BIS, which is a pretty fast light bomber, and one card of the B-40N fighters, and another card of the BE-283, which is a heavy bomber. And that's basically it. That's how we build this division. I have to say that playing with this division itself is a bit tricky, so it need to apply certain tactics. This division cannot be used to rush your opponent, which is actually ironic, because according to the history, this division was actually used to break through heavy defenses. So and that's what also mentioned by Eugene. But when you actually play with this division, it sounds more like a defensive division than an offensive one, to be honest, or that's how I felt, at least from my opinion. And the reason for that it does not have something that can actually break through. It does not have heavy tanks, it does not have fast recon units. It does have some cheap tanks, but I don't think these tanks can be used to perform a breach of heavy defenses like what is mentioned. But anyway, let's see how did I apply these tactics, or how did I play with this division. So this is the game basically which I choose to showcase the 7th Mechanized Corps. We are playing in this map, Linia, which is pretty annoying map for lots of people. It's very difficult, and the reason for that it does not have many places to actually maneuver your units. My opponent is on the right side. He's playing in red color, and I am on the left side. I am playing with blue color. So we started deploying our units. So let's see how this game went. This is going to be a pretty interesting game because of the nature of the map and the intense fight which we are going to have in the middle. My opponent here is playing with the 15th Infantry Division, which is a British division, and I am playing with the 7th Mechanized Corps. Both of us are playing balanced. So we started, both of us started by pushing a large number of troops to the middle. You also have lots of recon units. I tried to destroy some of his units, but I was not able to. He was able, however, to push his light tanks to destroy some units on this side. And the main problem is that because my units are actually slow, on here also I'm trying to push some troops to push to this side. I'm using lots of commanders, 2 commanders, as a strategy to play in the center of this map. It's better to have vetted troops. He's also deploying mortars now. He already deployed his units here. I have one Su-152 to spot any emplacements that he's going to try to have in this side. As we said, he deployed the 2-inch mortar, which is a close range mortar, and as a response right away I deployed also my mobile mortars. So far both of us has same number of flags, and as I said, this is going to be a long fight because of the city fight. So he's trying to advance and push further. You also have these Churchills, which have frontal armor of 150 millimeter. They are pretty hard to penetrate. One of the most annoying tanks in the game, to be honest. He's pushing his recon tanks here. And I destroyed one of the stewards. We still have some armored cars. Here I started to do a push toward this area, but he's relying of course on the Air Force. One of the best advantage in the British divisions are the Air Force. Because they are pretty fast and they can basically perform hit and run. On the north, everything is calm. On the middle, fighting street to street and building to building. It's a heavy fight. On the south, I'm trying to do a little push to take this flag basically. And now the SU-152 is supporting my bush here. He's pushing his Churchill, which will be very difficult to penetrate. He's now trying to push his diameter recon unit to support this flank, and I don't have anything to basically stop it. Fighting is still going on in this area. Keep advancing, but I keep pushing him back. The M2A1 is trying to suppress his recon, and I was able to do it somehow. Advancing my units here, but of course again he uses the annoying bombers. I'm also relying on the mortars here, trying to destroy his units, and he deployed another 81mm mortar as a counter. I deployed fighters, but I don't think I will be able to catch his Typhoon. As I said, British forces or British divisions have pretty fast planes. He's trying to push units from this side. But he doesn't realize that I have SU-152 here, which can take down anything that is moving basically. However, take longer time to reload. On this side, he's trying to push. Using those heavy Churchills. He of course was able to destroy my anti-tank weapon here. The anti-tank gun. He's concentrating lots of units in the center, trying to do a push. And now I'm trying to push anti-tank our tank destroyers in order to destroy any tank here that prevents my units from advancing. He has 13 flags though, and I have only 11. I am hammering him with my artillery. He also deploys Crusader, which is pretty good anti-air vehicle. It's also mobile. So far most of the fight is in the middle, nothing in the north, some skirmishes in the south. He tries to push one steward here, but Razvedka unit destroys the tank. His units basically will be sitting ducks. I'm talking about the tanks, of course. So it's not a good idea to push tanks in this area, especially against the Soviets, because they have these Razvedka units which have bazooka. But the problem that he is relying on these two Churchills which are having very heavy frontal armor that are very difficult to penetrate using this Su-76I. He's deploying more mortars to counter mine. And more anti-tanks as well. But it was spotted by the Razvedka. I am getting now the ISU-122S, and the reason for that is I want to destroy these Churchills which are annoying me because of their heavy frontal armor. I'm also trying to suppress his units here using my mortars. And I keep moving my mortars from a place to another because I know that he is gonna try to counter them. And indeed, he started deploying long-range artillery as well. He's now pushing lots of infantry. I have units to counter. We are now in phase B, so I started to deploy some Sabiris. I am also deploying a commander, or a commandant basically. Which is going to increase the veterancy of my troops to be able to sustain his attack. In this side, my Su-76 was able to destroy his recon unit here, and I am pushing to destroy this steward because this is what is preventing me from crossing this area. He missed. He's trying to destroy my anti-tanks, but he missed. He's relying heavily on air because, as I said, he has an advantage using air units. And finally, I am able to take any obstacles in this side. Now I will be moving my units here. And I think my ISU-122 was able to destroy one of the Churchills. Or maybe he I think he went here away from my tank, so he's hiding. He started now firing using the artillery and the mortars as well. My units are advancing on the south front. He deployed a 17 pounder, which is a beast against tank. That's why I'm trying to run away. He had the penetration, and luckily I was able to take out my tank to hide it. He has also lots of anti-air units in this area. He has an anti-tank here. I started withdrawing my ISU from this side. Basically taking it away from the anti-tanks. On this area, finally, I am able to push. He is pushing with the bombers, but I am advancing in a way that will not allow him to kill all my units. So now I have this flag, and he will have difficult time to retake it. He was able to destroy the ISU. I have to say he has lots of anti-tank weapons in this area. So that's why I'm pushing the KV 1E, the off-map artillery. To counter this spam. Again, he is able to destroy one of the tanks using the bombers. These bombers are pretty annoying. He's trying to destroy the Su-76, which destroyed his recon unit. Pushing lots of Sabiris. He's trying to counter my mortar, but I keep moving them. Still, he's trying to target this anti-tank and tank destroyer in the south, but with no luck. In the north, everything's still calm. Heavy fight in the middle though. Here is the first off-map artillery. He has pretty good anti-tank infantry in this area. So I'm starting to redistribute my units here to avoid air attacks. Let's see the effect of the off map here. The off map did really good job suppressing his enemies, suppressing his units in this area, and allowing me some time to push more troops. Now he's trying to push some infantry, but I'm also bringing more close combat units, which will do perfect job in this jungle. I have more flags now. I'm getting another ISU 122 and another SU 85, trying to take down some of these annoying tanks here. He was able to push 2 rifle units, but I'm bringing automatic units. So let's see how things goes. British divisions is all about spamming, so far he's playing this well, using spamming infantry and tanks, as well as anti or fighter bombers, basically. I'm able to suppress his fighters now and his bombers. Finally, he is able to destroy my anti-tank unit here, the tank destroyer Su-76. Heavy fight in the jungle now. He's trying to keep this flag and I'm trying to deny it from him to balance the number of flags. I don't know what he was thinking. He cannot bring the Typhoon during this heavy anti-air. He was trying, and finally I got one of the Churchills. Here I'm pushing these units. He's now targeting my mortars using his long-range artillery. Now the way he pushed his units here actually was really annoying and unrealistic, since he just went through my units. He definitely was able to destroy the tank here. But anyway, he's gonna lose these units. Finally, I am able to clear this area despite the bombers attack. He keeps spamming lots of units anyway. Using heavy bombers, he's gonna lose lots of units here. As I said, the 7th Mechanized is not really good in pushing, despite that it should be. It is more of a defensive division, or that's at least how I see it. The Churchills are able to destroy my tank destroyers in this area. Here we go, Sabiris are trying to clear the way. I have full control on the southern flank now, and I'm trying to clear his units from this flag as well. I started to use my air because his anti-air is a little bit far. That's why he's trying to forward, put it in a forward position. He's bossing this heavy Churchill. As we can see, it has frontal armor of 150 millimeter. I think he's trying desperately to push me from this side. His bombers also trying to blindly target my infantry here. Pushing more rifles, and I'm pushing more close combat units. He has also the Sherman Crocodile, which also has a 150 millimeter frontal armor. So it's a tough job clearing out these tanks. So I'm not sure if the KV-1E is going to be able to destroy at least one of these tanks. And I was not able to. He used his motorized rifle. He's advancing his anti-air too much, which is a good strategy. He's trying to suppress my air units. See how fast his rocket planes and fighter bombers, despite the fact that I have actually 4 anti-air units here, but he was able to fire and run away. So I finally cleared this area from his units, but still have the threat of the tanks. So I'm pushing one Su-85. And I was able to suppress the crocodile and destroy it, luckily. On the south, I'm still having full control. I'm pushing the Su-85 in a front-to-front confrontation against the Churchill, and now I feel happy destroying his units here. He doesn't have any tank in this area now. So he basically lost of his all of his concentrated tanks in this area. Now it's my time to push back. I don't think he has any more heavy tanks, because he brought these tanks in early phases, so for sure he has less availability. He's trying to control this area, but he has no luck so far. And I am trying to push further in the center. Finally. He's still relying on the mortars and the artillery as well. But now, as I said, it's my turn. Concentrating all my artillery on him. And I am able to get his mortar. So I'm organizing my troops in this area in order to perform a final push or to push his troops. I'm still in full control of this area as well. He seems that he doesn't have any more heavy tanks to push. I'm putting coordinated artillery on his mortars. He started to lose the grip on the center, and he's desperately trying to take this flank. Artillery is doing great job, to be honest, on my side. But he has lots of mortars actually coming. But he's losing too much in the center and not able to regain control on the south. He still have some effective anti-air, and now he's deploying Aquilas or tank destroyers. Interesting. He has 2 more Churchills here. Churchill 4. And he decided to leave. I think he started to realize that he's not going anywhere in the center. Let's see the kills. He had pretty good kills, almost near to what I had, but he couldn't hold anymore. So let's see the kills. So as we can see, what can light vehicles do at the start of the game. He was able to destroy lots of units from my side, including tanks and tank destroyers. This rifle unit also did a good job destroying these infantry on my side. Bombers, of course, they were the most annoying part about this game. The Typhoons. His Churchill was able to destroy the ZES-3 anti-tank. His 6-pounder destroyed 2 of my Su-76. He had lots of anti-tank weapons in the center, actually. So he was able to get some of my tanks. I did some bad mistake by getting this ICU-122 too near, but the problem with this map that you don't have really lots of choices or lots of options when you decide to place your tank destroyers or even your normal tanks. But anyway, let's continue. This rifle also does a great job. This is normal artillery, and it was able to take down 2 of my mortars, but luckily I had more. Other than this, there is nothing that is unusual with the player record. Pretty standard game. So let's see my kills. So of course I also relied on the light bombers, trying to counter what he's doing. So I destroyed the MGs, and this Su-152, which was placed on the hill, did a great job supporting the attack on the southern flank. So this tank was really a good choice to take. Su-76I was able to destroy his Stuart. Razvedka. Also, this Razvedka unit did a really great job destroying a tank and an anti-tank as well. I mean, these are really good units if they are placed in the right place at the right time. The Razvedka. The ISU 122 was actually able to destroy his Churchill before it gets destroyed, and also one of the pirates. The Su-76 MBT also was able to destroy Stuart and the Mk3 light vehicles. And as I said, the mortar did the most difficult job and the hardest job. It was the star of this game, destroying also mortars for the opponent and anti-tank as well. The off-map artillery also did a good job, taking these guys out of the picture. Sabiri also destroyed lots of rifles, and it's not a good idea in general to face Sabiris using normal rifle squads, but that's what happened, and of course the Sabiris won, especially that they are already vetted as well. As we can see, ISU 122 destroyed his Churchill again. Okay, the Sabiri here also destroyed some of his units. This Su-76 really did a great job here, destroying some tanks as well as some infantry. Same goes for the Razvedka. And basically that's it. Nothing also out of the ordinary. The scores are pretty close, but the nature of the map dictates this. So thanks everybody for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this game.